Welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm over here at the shop, B&K Performance. We're working on the race car again today. Let me show you what we got going on. It should be a pretty quick video. Hopefully it won't be too bad. We got good plans. We'll see if we can execute them. We're getting ready for the no prep race in Virginia, No Prep Kings. I say no prep race loosely because the track actually comes around and gets tight. I saw there was a couple videos from this weekend at Palm Beach, the first race, and it was like sticky. So we may keep the radios on. Don't forget to go to turbojohnracing.com, grab yourself some merchandise, comment, like, and subscribe. Thanks, guys. All right, guys, so we found one of the big things. Losing in a no prep race is bad. It's real bad. And one of the reasons it's bad, look at all the nicks here on my compressor wheel, and this right here is super rough, and you can see that big nick. It's not enough to throw it out of balance yet. This is one of the things. I'll send it back to Jose at some point, forced inductions, and get this touched up. May get a, this is a 102, may end up getting like a 98, one of his no time 98s. It's got a better turbine wheel and a better compressor wheel, believe it or not, even though it's a little bit smaller. But one reason to not be behind when you don't have a screen and a forward-facing turbo is because whoever is putting the gap in your life is possibly throwing up rocks and dirt, and you're going to get in it. So that's a bad thing. I left the front end off. There's a couple things happening, hopefully next week. Bump steer, everybody's been talking about the caster camber stuff, and when this car, in order to get the toe in correct, as much travel as it has, I jack it up, top out the suspension, and that's where I set my toe, right? And so it's perfect. It's just barely canted in, just a little bit, you know, towed in, and it works good. But when it's at ride height, the front end is dropped down and it tows way in. And so when you're backing the car up or something, it makes the wheels do all funky stuff, wears the tires real bad, and it makes it just rough. You see it kills the inside of the tires a lot faster when you have that. And actually, when we got back last time, JW was changing the tires, and there was a ton of rubber buildup on the inside, wasn't there, from the no prep race? It was crazy. So the solution is you got to get these arms, you got to get the arm on the same angle. And it's really hard to tell. Let's see if we can see it on the other side. But my arm, A-arm and the steering arm is not quite the same angle. And so what I need to do is my tie rod end needs to come down a little bit more. That's the bump steer kit. That bump steer kit that I have has not got enough space in it so that I can actually space it down. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna drill the knuckle out. This has got just the regular style angled knuckle in it, or this thing here, whatever that's called. But I'm gonna drill it out to 5/8 of an inch, and we're gonna put a longer bolt in it, put more spacers in it, and that way hopefully we can adjust the toe, the caster camber, all that good stuff. We're not doing that today, but that's happening. Front springs, 16-100s. But what we're going to be working on today, got a couple things. We are going to be changing my D-bag. This is the deployment bag. This thing is about a year old, and you can see it is beat up. So what happens, I've got an air launcher on the back of the car. This is the air launcher. It's one that I made, but you can make it yourself. Basically, it was a regular spring. We got this handy dandy air cylinder that is like 1 inch in diameter. That's the part number. Got that from Sunday Jigs. Built this round disc on the inside, and so now we got an air launcher, so we don't have a spring anymore. The only problem is this thing, it wears out, and so you get about a year of use out of it, and then you got to replace it. So we're replacing that today. Super easy. But the other thing we're going to do that is going to take a little bit more time, but it's not terrible. We've got these awesome QA1 Mod Series shocks back here. That spring that is on there is a 1495. And if y'all remember the last race we had, during the radial prep, the doggone thing separated so hard we lost the spring cups. So we got some new springs. They're 16 inches long and they are 65 pounds. Got those from Mincer Motorsports. They're right here in Fayetteville, so Milton knows those guys pretty good, so he went over last night and got some springs. So we're gonna put the springs on it, and then we've got some new lug nuts. These guys here, they were at PDRA, these nuts, go check them out. They actually have a bunch of billet lug nuts. Brian's got them on his, Randy's got them on his, and they asked me why wasn't I running them on mine. And so we talked for a few minutes, and we got a good deal on them. So we're going to put those on, so that will look a little better. They do have one that is similar color to this, but he didn't have those in stock. He said he might get some of those soon, so we may end up getting those. Well, I don't know though. I don't know how those would look actually, but we're going to change those nuts today. All right, guys, so we did just raise the front end about a ½ inch too, so we're gonna let this down and see if that gets us a little bit closer. It's a little low in the front, but these 16100s, they just sink a lot. We raised it a couple times. I think that's gonna be a little closer. All right, let's jump on the back. There we go, I think we're good. And these are the 1665s. Mincer has a set of 1685s also. And then I saw on Summit's website, they had somebody had some 55s. I can't get it to focus. There we go. So there we go, Mincer 2.5 16065s. Whew, man, that's a very thin spring. So they're very tall. So we're gonna stick those on the back real fast and see how that works out. All right, guys, well, here we go. We got these things on. JW had to push the spring down on the shock, but we will never lose a spring cup again. Now, the only question is did I guess right on the poundage? That 65 pounds I don't know. We'll see what happens. The spring is all the way down and the spring is all the way up as far as like stretched out. So the cups are going to be good. So we just got to see how much it's going to actually compress. These 65s may be too strong. They may be too weak. But for the radio stuff and the amount of weight that we have in the back of the car now, my goal is to make it so we can, hopefully the car settles real low and then I can run this spring up, the actual spring perch there, and compress it. And that way I can get the right height where I want it. But it may be jacked up like a four-wheel drive. Let's see. All right, guys, well, we have a 4x4. It's a little tall, so probably I've got 120 pounds in the back of the car right now, and it's a little higher than what I wanted. I didn't measure it a minute ago before we put it down there, but it's definitely higher. Now, Happy sit on the back of it. Now, Happy is about 300 pounds, and we got some good, it looks like it's perfect for what I wanted to do, but I don't want a no-prep race with another 300 pounds in the car. So let's see if we can lower it on the spring perches any at all, where it mounts to the rear end. If not, then probably I need a lighter weight spring. What was those springs I took off? I think they were 1495s. Of course, I painted them. No, these are 1495s. So, dang. Okay, let's see what we got. All right, guys. So Happy hopped in the car, and with Happy in it, the ride height is similar to what it was when we were at the track last weekend. I did raise the front a little bit, but we've got about, realistically, these are long travel shocks, and we've got probably 2.5, 3 inches of travel in the back. So, I mean, there's like 3.5, 4 inches of shock sticking out the body of the shock back there. So this may work if we put a little bit more weight. I mean, it's real sensitive. I mean, a 65-pound spring. So with Happy and JW on the back, another 500 pounds essentially, that actually looks like it's pretty close on what we'll need for back of the track radial stuff. That 65-pound spring on a 16 may not be enough. I may end up having to get a 55 to get it to compress a little bit more. Because, you know, we had talked about even taking this weight out in the back. Right now, the bias it's not very good. It's not very user-friendly right now for back of the track stuff. For sure, front of the track, no prep, maybe. It's like 58% on the nose here, so it's still pretty nose heavy. So we may end up putting another 120-pound block back here in the back. If we do that for no prep stuff, that'll put us at, I mean, we'll be pretty heavy. 27, 28, be like almost 2,900 pounds, which we built this car to freaking be lighter. So, you know, it's one of those things, we keep adding weight to it. And the main problem is because of that engine placement there. You see the engine setback is just not there. So I don't know what we're going to do. It's going to be interesting. Over the weekend, they got a little bit of work done on Happy's car. And this thing, it's amazing how much it looks like a race car now. They got in here, Happy, Brian, JW, and they hacked out the floor. This is an old race car that Brian had back in the day, and it's been sitting out there. And of course, Happy crashed. And so he bought this cage. This is from John Gibbons. And the whole setup, man, I mean, it was the cage fully. I mean, and then they basically just welded it into the rocker panel over there. This is freaking insane. And of course, it's going to be 4-link, but he is coming along. He's got the front end stuff on it. And so it is making good progress already. So this is looking good. It's got the Mod Series shocks in the back. This thing's going to be gangster. This is going to be a nice car. This is going to be one of those cars. He's got the rig in already. It's going to be back at the track, 28's Gone Wild. He's going to be kind of doing the same stuff we're doing. So that's going to be a nice setup. Okay, so let's put the lug nuts on real fast. We're going to stick these nuts on. Check these things out, guys. These things are freaking unbelievable. And there goes their website and stuff. If you want to go get some, they are really, really nice. BilletlugNut.com. And we got the front ones and the back ones. So we're going to take these off real fast and stick these on as well. And that should really spiffy up the rim to make it look a lot nicer. Especially back there in the back where there's nothing really down in there. So that, I think it's going to be pretty nice. All right, so here goes these awesome lug nuts. That is freaking, wow. That is unbelievable. That looks really good. So let's stick them on the fronts real fast and see what they look like on the car. All right, guys. Boy, those do look a ton better. Wow, I like those. These nuts, go check them out, guys. We'll show you on the back. We'll get those done in a second. I did put a little bit of anti-seize. They are anodized, but you know, the anodized wear, it does kind of wear off over time just as it goes in and out. So we put just a smear of the Tin Man. And it's all over me already. It's on my fingers. It's on my doggone pants. It's like you just crack that thing open and it's like it goes everywhere. You're Tin Man. I don't understand. So one wheel down, we'll do the other 3 wheels real fast. I'll show you what the back ones look like. All right, guys, well, we are done. We got a lot done tonight. We did jack up the front end. The front end is jacked up a little bit. Ride height in the back is questionable. For the no prep race, we may be okay. It's a little high. We may put another 120 pounds in it. Another 120 pounds back there in the back is actually pretty close to where I think it needs to be, ride height wise. It is, I mean, that wheel is just tucked in there so far. That's not bad. That's pretty close to where it was last time. We could also take another bracket and drop the bracket, bolt that bracket to my shock bracket or weld it to it, and then drop it down a little bit more. But right now, on the bottom rear end, it is all the way down. It's right where it needs to be as far as on the bottom. I don't have any more adjustment down on the bottom. So that's as far down as I'll go. Or I can put a 1655 spring on it. If I get a 1655, then that would drop it down a little bit more. But then when I start putting a bunch of weight in it, then it, of course, it's not going to work. But right now, I still got some thinking to do. I still got next week to figure it out completely. We got the billet lug nuts on. Those things look good. Check them out. These nuts, go grab some. And we'll be hopefully working on Randy's car in the next couple of days. He's getting another seal. And then this one will be ready to race next weekend at No Prep Kings. All right, guys, comment, like, and subscribe. We'll see y'all soon. Later.